Hi, everyone. Today we're going to talk about voice acting demos, voiceover demos. It's all the same thing. We're going to talk about what a voice demo actually is. There are a few things to think about, and there's one big burning question I know everybody has, and we're going to talk about all of that. I made another video that talks about the difference between homebrew demos and agency demos. But today we're going to talk about the nitty-gritty of what a voice demo actually is. So a demo is a short snippet of audio that showcases your voice, your range, and your acting chops, your performance skills. The audio snippets on your demo should be representative of the types of productions that are out in the world. And this is true for any type of demo that you're making. So if you're making a video game demo, you want to make sure that you're using the type of dialogue that you would hear in a video game. If you're making an audiobook demo, you want to be telling a story from a book. If you're making a commercial demo, you want to sound like the types of commercials that you hear on TV, on the radio, and online. If you're making a voicemail demo, you have to have clips that sound like actual voicemails. This is your portfolio, your calling card, your business card. This is how you sell yourself to the world. Whatever demo you're making, it has to be representative of the type of work that you want to get. So if you want to get into e-learning, you definitely want to use the type of script that you would hear in an e-learning production. If you make a commercial demo and hope to get e-learning work, that may not work out because the e-learning producer needs to hear you narrate the type of script that they work with. They need to know that you can read long-winded sentences and still sound engaging. If they hear a commercial demo, they'll think, wow, she can record commercials, but it tells them nothing about your narration skills. Voiceover clients, voice acting clients really need to hear you performing the types of scripts that they produce. That's what tells them that you can do the type of job that they work in. Now, I know a big question a lot of people have is, which type of voice acting demo, voiceover demo should I make? This will depend on three things: your experience, your interest, and your natural abilities. So for example, if you're a teacher, narrating e-learning content might be second nature to you. If you're a parent or a person that loves to read out loud and create all kinds of characters, audiobooks might be for you. If you're a TV announcer or a DJ or a TV anchor, imaging might be for you. If you play video games and you love video games and you love acting out and can do a lot of accents, video games might be for you. Everybody has their own experience, and that's often a really great place to start when it comes to creating voice acting demos. But then there's also your interests. Maybe there's something you're just so passionate about, and you'll go that extra mile and you'll do everything you can to get into that industry and whatever it takes on the performance level. So that could work too. And then there's your natural abilities, just the things that come to you naturally. Everybody has their strengths, and your strengths are something you'll discover in acting class, in voice acting class, and those are often also a great place to start in terms of making voice acting demos. Like I have a student right now and I'm coaching him for commercials, but he's a great storyteller. So making an audiobook demo might be a good idea after getting coaching. Whatever voice acting demo type that you want to make, you really should coach in that specific discipline. Coaching for commercials is very different than for audiobooks and for video games. So you want to get very, very specific about the type of demo that you aspire to and get coaching that is related to that. And now we come to everybody's burning question. Where do I get the scripts for the demos? Auditions are always a great place to start, except if the scripts are confidential. Never record or use material that is confidential in a demo. That's a big, big no-no. But if it's not confidential and you've been requested to audition either directly from the client on a pay-to-play site or through an agency where the scripts aren't confidential, you can use that in your portfolio. This is typical of many creative industries where we present something to the client and the client doesn't take it. We can still use that thing that we created as a portfolio piece. It's very, very common And again, the only time you wouldn't do that is if the material was confidential. You can also use scripts from previous jobs you've recorded. In this instance, maybe you never got access to the actual job, or maybe the way they produced it wasn't as great as it could be. So you can use those scripts. And guess what? You can also create your own scripts. If you hire a demo producer, that's what they'll do for you. They're going to base their script on something that exists in real life, but they're going to modify it a little bit, so it's not exactly the real thing. If you want to know more about that, watch my other video about homebrews and agency demos. You don't want to copy scripts of productions that are out there in the world word for word. You want to sound like the real thing without copying exactly word for word the real thing. And don't use something that is so well recognized that it's implausible that you've done it, especially if you don't have a lot of experience. And the thing about demos is you don't want to sound like an imitation of a demo. So performance in all this is really, really key. You really have to coach for the types of demos that you want to make. If you don't, you risk sounding like an imitation of what you're trying to do. And any experienced producer will be able to tell that you're not experienced. And you don't want that to happen. You don't want anybody remembering you for the wrong reason. You want them to think, wow, this person sounds like the real thing. And then if you get the gig, you've got to be able to produce the real thing in real time. Now, you might be thinking, when I get jobs, I'll just use those as demos. But that doesn't always work out for multiple reasons. Number one, you might have signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. This means that you can't talk about your work with that company. You can never mention it, even if it's out in the world and people recognize you. You can't talk about it, and you certainly cannot use those demos as a portfolio. So now you're thinking, okay, I don't have an NDA. What about this other job? When you're recording a demo, you are the star of the show. Everything you use, the music, the script, is made to enhance and showcase your instrument. But when you're performing on a job, you are not the star of the show. You are now a production element. And not all productions are created equal. Not all scripts are great. Not all producers are great. Not all audio engineers will make you sound like $1 million, and you've got to sound like $1 million. That's what you're selling. You're selling your voice and everything that you can do. Okay, another scenario. You don't have an NDA, and this production you know is going to be amazing. But now you cannot get a hold of that production. I have scoured the internet for some of my commercials. I have hunted down producers and borderline stalked them, which I do not recommend you do. Sometimes you just can't get your work back. It might be amazing, but you'll never hear it for whatever reason. And that's just the reality. So making a voice acting demo becomes really important. You're in control. You decide what you're selling and how you're selling it. But the most important aspect of recording a demo is your performance. That's what you're working on. The rest you can buy and you can pay for. Your level of performance is something you have to work at. And you have to work at it really well, because once you make that demo, people are going to hold you to that standard. You have to work at your craft day in, day out. It does not happen overnight. It's about being consistent, patient, and allowing yourself to grow. I hope that clarified a few things about demos. If you have any questions or comments, please write them in the comments. I love interacting with you. It really warms my heart. If you don't know, I've written some books about voice acting, and if you sign up to my mailing list, you'll get a discount for them. And not only that, if you sign up to my mailing list, the URL should be somewhere here, you'll be the first to know about any classes I'm putting together, any events, any releases. You'll be the first to know. It's really the best way for us to stay in touch. And of course, if you like the content in this video, please subscribe. This is a labor of love. It means the world to me.